Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar, live forex market review. My name is Duncan Cooper. So before we get into it, if you can read through the disclaimer. For those on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to join us in the webinar if you want to chat to us. I've given you the link there. All right, so everybody please read through the disclaimer before we move along this evening. Or as you're reading through that, if you have any questions through the webinar, just put them into the chat box or the question and answer box. All right, so let's move along. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at XAUUSD Securities, and I'm a full-time forex trader. I've been trading now for more than 15 years in the forex market, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is there on screen, duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can connect with me on our website, acy.com, Market News tab, find my analysis there. YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia, and if you want to connect me through the week on my own personal handles, they are there, Twitter and LinkedIn. As well, we have our Telegram channel. If you want to get access to that, just contact Nathan.bray. I'll put his details in the chat in a moment. And if you want to get access to my chartouts and templates, just contact Nathan for MT4. So if you want to set up a demo account, you can get all that set up, just contact Nathan. If you have questions about the live account, just contact Nathan too. So anything support-wise, just contact Nathan. He's the go-to guy. I'll just put his details in the chat. There we go. All right, so make use of all the free resources. So let's get into news first of all. What's coming up? We've had the Aussie employment rate today. It has ticked up, so potentially that may be inferring to the market that we might not get a further interest rate hike from the RBA, but we'll have to wait and see. So coming up in 10 minutes or so, UK monetary policy report hearings, which isn't flagged as a red item, but it's coming up. 10:30, we've got the unemployment claims. Into the morning, we have Canadian Bank of Canada Governor Macklem speaking. And last one really to consider for the week is we have early Saturday morning, Fed Chair Powell speaks. Not sure what he's speaking on, but he's speaking. So not too much US dollar news this week. And we are seeing a little bit of, I would guess, we are declining for the week versus the US dollar. So the US dollar is moving up, but quite a number of pairs are quite rangy. They're not in a massive trend. Some are quite range bound, like the New Zealand dollar, the Aussie dollar to an extent. Dollar Canadian's range bound. So let's get into the charts. We'll have a look at dollar index first of all. So we're having a continued move up from last week. I'm anticipating we could be moving up to the top of this weekly range that I've highlighted here. And we're seeing on the day chart continued uptrend, forming a higher bottom now. So the market is it's taking out 1, 2, 3 highs at the moment. Series of highs here that the market's taking out. So we could well see ourselves at the top of the range by, I don't know, mid next month, if not before, if it keeps on moving on. So definitely US dollar strength is coming back into the market. In terms of S&P 500, it's still very choppy. It is putting a higher bottom here, but I'm not convinced that that's any uptrend worth trading. We're at weekly tops. I had these colored in the other day. All these tops here, that top to that top. And there's that top there as well. So that whole area there is weekly resistance at the moment. We're just chopping around the 79% retracement level of the monthly range there. All right, so that whole area is covering the weekly tops, and we're just in that band. So until we get, if we are going north, I want to see a clear breakaway from this area, because just moving into this area has just proved before that you move into this area and then it moves back down. So I'm not seeing anything to do on the S&P 500 at the moment. It's very sidewaysy. Now let's get into, start with the euro dollar. So weekly perspective, that's, if you're new to the webinars or you haven't been this week, this is the range of last year. We're failing at the 79% level here on the weekly chart, failing at 110.33 and starting to move down. I'm anticipating we may well be coming down to this weekly top at the moment. That's at 10736. And we're starting to move below the next level of day support today. Next one is there at 107.88. I suppose I should put that on my chart now. So we're seeing continued decline from last week and another lower tops form this week. I put out on Telegram to watch 109, and that's pretty much where it failed. So I can't go back in time to sell there, but hopefully somebody took advantage of getting short up there at 109. Now at the moment, it's a bit difficult to get short. We're still contemplating moving through 108.31 day support, and the next level is there at 107.88. We are starting to form resistance here at last week's low. Now, I mean, this could get range bound here, and you might see another visit back up to last week's low. That's proving to be resistance now. This 108.31 level, I might have just said it's a daily level, but just want to double check. There it is. What I'll be looking for at the moment is, if we can come down to 107.88, the next level of day support, then we might get an intraday bounce back up to the broken level of day support, and I would look at that level. At the moment, if I was looking for a sell, I'd like to be selling higher up. So it's just stuck between two levels there at the moment. So you could watch last week's low that's been broken. Well, you can clearly see there twice already now. The rally back up yesterday got held at last week's low, and today that's where we put the high in for the day. So we could come back up to that area today. That would certainly be the area I'll be watching. If you wanted to get short, that would be the best area to watch if price can get up there. Well, maybe I'm putting in a short-term bottom here. All these last 4 or 5 candles haven't gone anywhere. So usually when we start to see that, the downward move is probably coming to an end in the short term. You could also be drawing a fib across today's range at the moment. And the 79% level, that's with central pivot points. That's at 108.39. So I would be looking up into this area if we get a rally. If you wanted to get short on that pair today, that's the area to start to look for a setup if it can get back up there. I don't like to be selling at the bottom of today's move at the moment. And we're not able to move below yesterday's low formed. So some intraday support coming in here in the short term. All right, Euro Yen, it's just on an area of resistance. Go to your daily chart. This daily top, 149.26.2. Now it has moved above an area that I was watching it to be resistance. I was watching this area, but we moved through it yesterday. So at the moment, I'm just sitting on my hands because this could be a double top to continue the overall decline that we've been having over the last 2 or 3 weeks, or we could move through. But I'm not going to buy into resistance, so I'm just wanting the market to tell me what it's doing at this top. We're on 149.26. Through the day, especially on this 4-hour chart, if we were to come back up to 149.26 today, we've obviously tested it once. We come back up again, and we can see that's actually the high of last week. You can see how we held there last week at this 4-hour top. If we come up for another test and hold one small and reject, then that would be a signal to look for an opportunity to short. So I'm just waiting to see if something like that presents. Do we come up, hit, and fail? If we do, then I could be looking in this area for a short. I'm not going to buy into resistance, so I have an opportunity either to wait for a complete break above that level and then maybe look for an opportunity to buy on a setup, or I can wait to see whether or not price action is going to hit that level once more and maybe fail, or get up there relatively close and fail. All right, so while we're on the euro pairs, let's look at the euro pounds. Rather range bound here on the day chart. This is weekly support, this line from the weekly chart, obviously. And it's coming from over here. And resistance up here, 87.22 down to 87.18. Now, that's the level where we've been failing all week. We have touched that area. So I would be very range bound here. With the overall trend being down there on the daily, lower tops and bottoms, I would be watching the top area. We've hit the bottom, so maybe we're now moving up to the top once more. So I will be watching. The other weekly low is at 87.18. 87.18 to 87.22. I'd watch to see if price can come up to here. If it comes up to there, you can see it's failed there 3 times this week. Can it come back up there once more and simply fail to trade back down to support? That's what I'll be looking for a setup. All right, let's head over to the pound crosses. Now, I did put out on Telegram today, I was looking at this level up here, but we've never got there. That's yesterday's high at 125.10 and the 79% level. Now, we could still get up there, but at the moment, the market is trying to ask the question, can it break below 124.48? Now, twice it's tried to and couldn't. Is this the opportunity where it's going to let go? Could still hold here, move back up. If it moves back up, I would be looking up the high. What I'm trying to achieve here is sell at a higher level for the opportunity for price to break below support, because the trend on the day chart is now down. If you move to the daily, we've been forming a lower top opposite to that top. We have traded below this low, so we do have a lower bottom. So it's trying to break down to the downside, but I don't want to, I'm not going to sell into support. So back to that 4 hour. If it can pop up, I would look to the higher levels of the range of this week, from high to low, to look to sell. So yesterday's high could be get a false break there if it wanted to move up, or the 79% level. Now, price may not get there, but right where it is at the moment, it's not a selling level. If anything, it's a buying level if we move back above 124.48. But I'm trying to structure a trade in line with the trend, which is down at a higher level. Now, hopefully price might just break down and through today, and then we can, over the next maybe 2 trading days forward, if we can get a clear breakdown through today, then we should see this area become resistance. And then that will be resistance for maybe a long-term move down. So yes, like you're saying, can only get to the 62 of that range yesterday. Well, we put in the high yesterday. It's been a bit tricky because I was looking at it on the day chart. I dropped back to the daily. You know, with that kind of rejection there yesterday, I was thinking, okay, maybe we would come up to the higher area of this range here that we're in for the week. But, you know, it never popped above yesterday's high. So it's just in an awkward spot at the moment. Some of these pairs are in little awkward spots at the moment. So forever patient, looking for a good opportunity rather than a poor opportunity. All right, pound yen. I was hoping this would just come up to test 172.13 today. I put this out on Telegram as well today. Price was about here when I was discussing it, but then it's just been drifting down, back down to support here. So I'm just watching. This is still in an uptrend here on the 4-hour chart, but the day chart, there's the monthly top, last year's high where we failed about a month ago. And can we come up for another hit into there, and can it hold? That's what I'm looking at the moment. Now, we might not get there. We may have already topped out. It's always annoying when you get a very positive day yesterday, and then today just doesn't follow through, you know, for a test. So it's just a game of trading is always a game of patience. So I'm looking to see if this can come up into there, hold and fail like it did over here, and then look for my setup to sell. Now, this could be support though, to actually get support to move up and through. So depending on what mode of operation you're looking at, you could be looking at this area for support to trade up. It is holding to the uptrend. So I'm just looking at this as a very strong level of resistance. So I'm looking for failure there to then come down. That's if it will offer that. This is obviously getting a little bit weighed down by the fact that the pound's been moving down. So if the pound keeps moving down and it manages to hold below the 124.48 level, this might not have a retest. What you might then be looking for is this area of support. You know, I don't sell into support, so I would need to see that break. And then over the next trading day or two, that to become resistance on a move back up to trade down. So depending on what the market's going to do, I'm just waiting to see if it offers me a trade that I like. Or, you know, all my trades generally are built around the structure, highs and lows, support and resistance. All right, let's head over to Aussie yen. Now, it's very choppy at the moment. I might just take a few lines off here. This is the range that we're in. And obviously I had negative news today. And we're just holding at the 79% level, chopping around it. We came up to the top of the range and rejected. We held there last week, came down. This week we're back up to the same level. And there's also another 79% level from this range where we've been up to this week as well at the 73 level, 91.73 level in there. So that area there at the moment, market's very choppy, but it's holding in between those two 79% levels. Now, before we had this nice move down to try to break down through monthly support in March, we did have a period here where it got rather choppy and quiet. So the market got quiet before breaking down. So that could be what's happening here at the moment. We're just getting range bound. Buyers and sellers are fighting it out. But, you know, if you're at the 79% levels, that's where you should be selling to trade down. So even though it's choppy in here at the moment, you could be looking to sell here. Stop above this high. That high came in start of the month, 2nd. So for 16 days, we haven't taken that out. So that's a clear top that's starting to form for the longer term. So, you know, selling now, stop above there. So you're having to risk about 100 pips. But if we trade down supports, it offers you great risk reward. All right. So just you need to work out what you want to do. Do you want to trade that pair or not? That's pretty much though the formation of things. 279% levels there, kind of holding the market. Can we start to break down? Aussie dollar. Now we failed last week at the top of the range, 68.05. We're actually some form of support from this weekly low over here. And so we can get my lines back in. There we go. We've got day support there at 66.19 and further weekly support down here at 65.64. So the market's asking itself, can we break down through support? So we traded down to that level that we're at right now last week, and now we're just waiting to see if we can break. It's not the level that you should be selling into. I mean, if we hold here, depending on which bias you want to use for the trend, because we are either range bound, you know, you could be thinking about buying here to trade up. If you're like me, you got short up here, then I'm wanting this to break down to see whether we can move down and through. There's a possibility that we, you know, could have a double top up there, depending on what the market wants to do, to break down and through. We are definitely seeing US dollar strength. So if that can lead this pair, it would lead to the idea that we could maybe have a double top for a break out of this range to the downside. That target would be at 63.41 if we can start to see a breakdown. At the moment, though, this is in a very difficult position if you're not already short because you're on support. So if you've got the opposite bias, you could be looking for an opportunity to buy here to trade up. It has been moving down all day. You know, you could be looking for maybe some form of trend line break if you want to trade to the upside from support. But when we hit support last time down here, quite a lot of these pairs that have been having some form of rally this week, you know, that rally from there was only 43 pips. It was a major buying pressure last time we were there, which was yesterday. We did hold there on the spike down from the news, and we are holding there at the moment. You know, there's no US dollar news to come out at the moment that can really show strength to the US dollar side if it wanted to. But the question is, can we break through support? Or are we going to hold support and do you want to trade back up the other way? So support's clearly there at the moment, 66.29. All right, we've covered the euro pairs, we've covered the pound pairs. That's New Zealand. New Zealand yen first. It's managing to move above this weekly area at the moment, these weekly tops. And I discussed this last night. We could be coming up to this imbalance area up here. It got formed, filling up the imbalance, 79% level there, 86.50. So I'm just watching to see what price does up there. This is the major range of the monthly chart. Looking for a lower top somewhere here to form potentially on the monthly chart for a move back down the range. But clearly the day chart here is holding to some form of an uptrend. I think it might be coming up to fill this top of that imbalance at the moment, or having a go at doing that. So depending on what today brings as well, we have a top here that we are struggling a little bit at, 85.90. By the end of the day, if we get a nice little reversal candle back below 85.90, that could be a signal for a sell the next day on the break of the low. So just monitoring that at the moment. Do we get a candle signal for a reversal? You know, price could still come up, fill that gap, and then we reverse down. Be nice if we got a reversal when we close down below that level of 85.90. We're just contending with the 8600 level at the moment. All right, New Zealand dollar, a bit like the Aussie at the moment. Triple top up here potentially. Has had a bounce on support. That support's very similar to the Aussie. And now it's stuck between support and resistance, 63.14 to 61.87. So again, it's not in the best position. It would be great if that is a fail that's going to hold. It would actually be nice if that came up to there, because that would then overlap with the fib level, and that would make a lot of sense to see price fail there. Where it is at the moment makes no sense to me whatsoever why price might fail there. It's just very sideways. So in fact, when I do look left, a level that was clear resistance for a long time through here was over there. So I mean, it could be holding to there. You can see it. That now makes sense, but there's all this price action in through here that kind of covers that area. So that does make sense why it's holding there, but from a technical perspective, this is a better level up here. So that's at 63.14. 6300 to 63.14 would be a good area to watch to trade around. Don't know if it'll get there. At the moment, for the last 3 days, we've been rather sideways. So you can monitor that. I might just leave that like that. Dollar Canadian is not too different. Here's your day support. Here's your daily resistance. And we're pretty much smack in the middle. Now we got a lovely rejection down there. I did say earlier in the week to watch that level. The weekly range, last week's trading range is here. All right, high to low, or low to high. Pull back to the 62, had a lovely rejection on supports, but then it's moved up and moved back down. It's probably now put in almost a 79% retracement back to there. So now it's getting support at 62 level of that range. It could be now moving up. But for me personally, sitting in the middle of the range of between support and resistance, I would much prefer, want to trade this pair, I would be waiting to see if this could get down close to the 134.06 level. And what does it do down there? If it can revisit. All right. Last week was nicely up, so we've been pulling back, and we're just chopping around here at the moment. Watch down here for potential support if it can pull back. I don't think it can. It looks like it's moving back up this way now, but I don't like to be trading when I'm smack bang in the middle of support and resistance, because price can then just turn around and go back the other way. So always looking for the best areas on the chart to trade up or down from, and that's not in the best area at the moment. Now, if you think it's going up though, you could obviously be clicking in, and you could just put your stop below the more recent 4-hour high bottom here, but you're in the middle of the range, so I don't think that's ideal. Dollar franc, it is at resistance at the moment. I did say on Tuesday, watch 89.26. On Tuesday, if we go back, Tuesday, we were down here when I was talking, and I said watch this trend line break on monthly supports, and you can see it's worked out quite nice. At the moment though, just its position isn't ideal, because now the market's asking the question, can we move above resistance? So we need to move above resistance now, which is pretty much the 90 level, 90.02. We want to move above and see 90.02 become support. All right, we've actually got some support today from 89.72, but we can't go back in time. So we are clearly seeing an uptrend starting to form now from the last major decline, getting support at the monthly support this week. Today, we have had some support come in from that day chart top, but now this could still fail at 90.02, even though the trend is up. You want to see that move up now, and over the next day or two, watch 90.02 to be support to continue the move up. And then we've got 90.59, I think that's weekly resistance, monthly resistance up here. Okay. And Slavi is saying we could pull back from 90.02. We could. That's why I'm saying, I'm not going to buy it right now, because you're buying it in an area of resistance and we're a little bit overextended. But, the rejection of yesterday has got support at the day chart high here that we moved above. So we've moved above the day chart high. That's become support. Are we now moving above this day chart high? So that's why I'm saying, can we clearly move above the day chart high, the next one? And then does that become support? So it is a little bit overrun, but that's what you need to start to look for. Dollar yen. I'm anticipating we could move through this area here, but we could, resistance is resistance, and we could hold here. I've discussed this inverted head and shoulder pattern, which would lead to the idea of breaking above there. But the last time we came up to that level, twice we've held there. About 3 times we've held there, once, twice, 3 times. So the market's asking the question at the moment, can we move above? Should have a line across that top, 139,388. All right, so we're at clear resistance. Got 2 things to do at clear resistance. So you either look for an opportunity short. It's been respected. You can see when we broke below that level last time, over here to the left, became resistance twice to move further down. Held, moved down, fraction short, held at that top just there to move down. It could hold once more. So that's not where you want to buy. At the moment, I think you've got 2 options. You either do nothing, you're waiting for a break above and then that level to become support later tomorrow, next week, or you're watching for a reversal. Trend on the 4 hour is still up there. If you've got a nasty 4 hour candle down from here, then maybe we're going to get a reversal. Or you could look for a tight entry really as well. You could look for, we've hit the level. You could be looking for some form of clear trend line break, swing point break. Clearly this area here has just been support over the last half an hour. You want to see a clear break below there. So to get short, you want to see price break below on the 50-minute chart. That area then becomes resistance to move down from it. So I can already tell there that at the moment it doesn't look like it wants to move above 137.90 because starting to 50-minute chart starting to maybe want to reverse there. But what's your trigger maybe to short it if you want to? All right, let's have a look at gold. Let's get all my markings off here. Now, the question is, are we forming a triple top up here? Be it from the weekly chart perspective, from the monthly chart perspective, okay? Very negative month this month. Last month, we had a kind of a inverted hammer, kind of doing the same thing again. Weekly, the overall weekly structure here is still up. Higher bottom to a higher top. We could just simply pull back within the weekly range here to a 62 level and then get support. So the 62 levels there, get support to have another go up there. So weekly trend is still holding to up, even though we're getting some negative candles up here. The day chart trend, though, is starting to show a downtrend, lower top, lower bottom. All right, getting short, if you think we're failing up there, you could be drawing a fib across the current day chart range. Keep dragging it down if price keeps moving down and look for a 62 or 79% rally, and then look to sell the top of a rally. Now, we are heading into some form of support here as well. So we've got weekly support, day support levels here. So pretty much where we're getting towards at the moment is support from 1974 down to 1959. So I wouldn't want to be shorting into this area. You'd want to look to try and sell a rally if a rally can come around, okay? This could actually be a buying area if you think we're going to move above those highs long term for whatever fundamental perspective you might have. This area here is support. Okay. So you could watch that area for support and look to trade back up from that area on a setup. All right, so some of these pairs are a little bit range bound. Some of them, you know, what's the trend on gold? Is it up or down? Are we fading at the top, or are we simply just pulling back to support? All right, so we'll see what the pound's doing. Still holding below 24.48 at the moment. Euro dollar. All right, we have traded below yesterday's low now. So still, I mean, it is rather choppy, but we are still wanting to move down. But you should always look to sell a rally if you can. I'll just be dragging that fib down. I'd still look to the higher level if the higher level can be met. Time to get short this week was when we failed up here at 109 on Tuesday. Over here to the left. That candle there was a clear signal on the close there, breaking the swing point, breaking the trend line. Around about 108.89. Now you could be risk-free and not trying to work out where you're going to short this pair. All right, so not too much US dollar news coming out to drive the market. We do have later on unemployment claims. I guess, I mean, that can come out a very poor number or a very positive number and put some impetus into the market. But ultimately, at the moment, we are just seeing the US dollar continually grinding higher. That looks like a very, on the dollar index, that looks like a very nice basing pattern to move up to the top of the range at least. So already had a little kind of a 1.5, that is 2 days of trading there, but it was a down kind of an up day in the same day there. So that's like about a 1.5 days down, and then we're moving back up. So hasn't been much to the downside on the dollar index since we started to maybe create a bit of impetus to move up there. So I mean, this could be the low of the year. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so Aussie's still holding on support at the moment. You may find over the next 24 hours with this euro yen, it is kind of reversing up there. May well see we're just below 149 at the moment. Tomorrow, if we close below 149, I would certainly watch 149 to be resistance tomorrow. Okay, this could be, from a day chart perspective, forming a double top. All these yen pairs potentially could move higher, especially if the dollar yen, to the day chart, the dollar yen breaks strongly above there. Well, two things can happen. This could break strongly above there and the yen pairs move up. Or that breaks strongly above there and the pairs to the dollar break strongly to the downside, and then the yen pairs just hold to a sideways price action because they can't go anywhere. So, but if this was to hold here and then start to move down nicely, that would certainly translate to the same thing here on the euro yen. So watching to see where it finishes today. If it does close nicely below 149 could be clear resistance on a rally back up tomorrow. Today, it's a little bit below it. It's a little bit above it, below it, above it. It's asking the question at the moment, can it move below it or hold on it? Or Euro just bouncing up on the candle. Pound dollar, it isn't looking that strong. It hasn't had, and the reason why I say that, it hasn't had much of a rally this week. If we look at the range, this was the candle of last week. Let's draw the fib there. We only got a fraction above the 38 here before we're then coming down to break the low. It hasn't come up to, often it will come back up the range to the 62 or the 79 of the range for the week. Nowhere near strength to buy it up, to push it up to those levels this week. So that is looking relatively weak at the moment. It is asking itself obviously the question to try and get below 124.48. But in terms of rallies have been very short on the pound there. Tim, you want to see the 50-minute chart on the dollar yen? All right. Don't really need that trend line there. But still holding on that top there, that 50-minute top for support, even though it's trying to trade below. You really need to see that break below and that top there to be resistance to move down. It's not showing that yet. This could hold here to move above 137.90. So what you're looking for what? So what happened here? See how we moved above that top? And then it pulled back to that 50-minute top to move higher. Well, what we're looking for here is the inverse. We want to break below there, and that becomes resistance to move down. And at the moment, it's not doing that. So it might offer it later in the day or not. But if you're looking for a reversal down from 137.90, now price needs to start to break down. At the moment, trade, support and resistance work exactly the same on a 50-minute chart to what it does on a higher time frame chart. We've broken above this 15-minute top. At the moment, that 15-minute top is being support. Traders could be buying here, getting ready for this to move above this top formed today and above the weekly level of resistance. So at the moment, buyers and sellers are fighting out here just on that 50-minute support level. Can we move above, or are we breaking below? And interesting, the largest 79% level here on the Aussie yen, I was discussing this with somebody else today, which is at 91.53, I think the number is. When we dropped because of the news this morning with the job figures, price all day long since then has been holding at that 79% level as resistance. And also, like I was just saying, there's a 15-minute support that breaks, becomes intraday resistance. So, but it all lines up with that 79% level there as well. So you've had opportunities up there at the 91.53 level to get short today. You could have been, if you wanted a tight stop, you could have been shorting there, stop above yesterday's high just up there. That's only approximately 25 pips, 30 pips max for the potential for a long-term decline if it wants to decline. So just breaking higher time frame level, 79% level, the market is quite clearly operating around that on a 50-minute chart there to be resistance at the moment. So if this might come back up there today to revisit and hold once more, and then back down. It's range bound here at the moment, but it's getting capped at 75, sorry, at 91.53. Okay. Slide my thoughts on the S&P 500 if you didn't catch it before. This colored area is my weekly tops. Top, top, top. There's another top there. There's a bottom here. There's a bottom here. All right. Until we see some nice price action, I don't like it where it is. I mean, sorry, it's moving up. Positive day yesterday, but it's just moving back into resistance. You know, high opportune level to trade at if this was to trade up today. If it came, you know, if it came up to this top, anywhere from that top upwards, to me would look like a good technical shorting level. You know, I couldn't contemplate buying that until you got a clear break above this colored area that I put in for the weekly tops. You know, weekly resistance there. So, you know, it offers great, you know, you never know what trade's going to work or not, but this offers great risk to reward to the downside at the level that it's at. It's very consolidatory though at the moment. It could go either way, really. But, you know, I don't buy into resistance, and this is resistance. So I have two options. I can sell at resistance or do nothing. But interestingly, you know, the Nasdaq is moving up and the Dow Jones is kind of sideways-ish. So what is happening? It's not very appealing at the moment, S&P 500. But, you know, if you had to do something on there, I would go, well, I'm at resistance, so I'd have to short it. If I had to buy it or sell it, I think the option is to sell because you're at resistance. That would be the technical thing to do. But in terms of price telling, you know, seeing some nice price action that's telling you to short it, I'm not seeing any price action other than the fact that we're just consolidating at resistance. All right, any final questions? While you're thinking of a question, just to let you know what's coming up next week on the webinars before we wrap it up. Live market analysis on Tuesday, so we can see whether the prices have started to move below these critical levels of support that we're holding on some of these pairs. I'm going to take you through pivot points on Wednesday. If you've never gone through that, that's that topic on Wednesday, and more analysis next Thursday. So that's what's coming up. All right, what's that euro dollar? Let's leave you with the euro dollar. Still rather choppy in here, but it is, you know, having another day down. So we're having days down now. It's too early to tell at the moment on this euro dollar. I did think this high was the high of the year, but now that we've failed for 4 or 5 weeks up here at the 79% retracement level of last year's trading range, I'm leaning to the idea this could be the high of the year, potentially. And this is now starting to continue a decline. Day chart trend is down. We could certainly come down to retest this area here. All right, whether or not that's the high of the year, I don't know. We've kind of had a triple bottom down here, and now we're having a triple top up here. So when we had the triple bottom, we had that obviously very nice move up. Now that we've had the triple top, I'm expecting we're going to have a nice move down where we might challenge this triple bottom. And then the market will ask the question, what gives after that maybe? So we could well be coming down there to the 105 area. So if you can see a good opportunity to get short on the euro dollar, try to sell a rally. Fortunately, if you didn't get in this week on the euro dollar, it did offer you a nice opportunity just underneath 109. So maybe next week you might see an opportunity. If you can break below 108, maybe next week 108 area might offer you an opportunity to get short if you're not already short. But quite clear downtrend forming there on the euro dollar. So, looking for an opportunity that you'd like to short that, I think would be the game plan. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Hopefully it's warm where you are. It's not too warm where I am at the moment, but it is winter. All right, so have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your weekend. Look forward to seeing you next week if you have the time.